Live from East York Cable Rogers Studios, it's our opening party. Hello, thank you very much for that welcome. I'm going to be the host of this little do tonight. My name's Paul Chatto. I've got an unusual position here. I'm going to be gone this Friday. It's been a fun month. I've helped work on the opening here and just help things get together. And I have to say right off the bat, without getting too boring, that I've really enjoyed myself. I think everyone who's involved in this station, the other Rogers affiliates, and every other cable company should be proud to have this as another addition to your chain of facilities, your empire. Anyway, these facilities are going to be serving the East York community, and I'd like to say hello to everyone there who's checking the time, and it's not there because we're on. We've got some good producers here, people who are going to be going out and motivating, or as they say in the little handbook, animating the community as best as they can. And we're very fortunate to have these people. Valerie will be not bringing them on, but introducing them, and they will have their own little videotape segments to introduce themselves. We also have some special guests, some very important people in the cable industry who will be putting their words in as well. So I think we have, yes, I shall. Thank you. We're going to start things off by introducing the person who has put everything together here at East York, the main producer, director here, Valerie Marlette.
Thank you. We made it. It's hard to believe. We're here. It's done. It's finished. I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you to everyone that helped. And I required a lot of help, and it's been great. Your support has been wonderful. I'd also like to thank the people at home, because it's the people at home that are actually going to make this thing work. We need the community. We need East York. There's a full moon tonight, and in my life, weird things happen on the full moon. And tonight's a full moon, but it's not so weird. It's great. I'm really proud of all of us here. Thank you very much. There's one person who could not make it here, one very important person, and that's the person that brought it, who's got the concept, who's got the ideas, who's got the reasons behind community programming. That's Ted Rogers. Unfortunately, Ted had to go to Ottawa today to speak to members of the CRTC. I managed to catch him very early this morning at the airport, and this is what he had to say to us.
I'd like a seat on the 10:30 to Ottawa.
Fine.
Economy.
We'll be boarding this flight from gate 76.
Thank you very much.
10:15.
Great, thank you. Good evening. I really wish I was with you, but here I am at the airport going to Ottawa, trying to get permission for Rogers Cable to do more good things in East York. Your Worship, it's great to be here with you tonight and the other guests through the magic of television, community television, here in Rogers Cable Channel 10. We're all tremendously proud of the new East York studio, the job that Valerie and the rest of the gang have done in making it one of Canada's most modern community programming studios. We hope that most of our subscribers in East York will come in over the next few days and weeks ahead and use these facilities, because they're really for you, for the community. We have taken the wiring in East York and separated it from the other communities, North York and the City of Toronto, so that special East York programming just flows to our homes in East York. And yet, for other services like the Parliament of Canada and reports from MPPs from Queen's Park on the Converter channel going to all the subscribers in different communities in Metro Toronto and other parts of Ontario, these services are flowing. But here tonight, we're celebrating the opening of Rogers Cable East York Community Programming Studio. It's a great march forward in 1980. It makes it so that all of us can feel that we can communicate with our neighbors. You know, in this era of big government, big unions, and big companies, it's hard to feel that you can influence opinion and that you can sort of express your own views. But here in East York, at our local community programming studio, we hope you'll come in and join with us talking to the other people in East York about things peculiar and of interest to East York. So, Your Worship, I'd like to pay tribute to you for helping make this possible. God bless and good night.
Well, we wish him good luck in Ottawa. Well, what have we done? We now have a community programming studio, we've got a mobile, we've got Portapack equipment, but most of all, we've got a staff here, a staff of professional people, people to help the community do good community programming. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about my staff because I'm very proud of them. I'd like to tell you a little bit about each one of them individually, and then they've prepared a short videotape that they'd like you to see. First of all, John Hart, he's my senior producer. He owns the unicycle in the producer's room. He's been my right-hand man during the building of this, and thank you very much. He's been with Rogers Cable for 6 years now. Judy Gans, Judy Gans is new to Rogers Cable. She's been with us for almost a year, but she's got 3 years of experience in community programming at Classicom in Newmarket. Then there is Matty Kopamis. Matty just joined me in January. He was an audiovisual technician with the Toronto Board of Education, brings lots of experience. There's one man missing tonight, Lawson Hunter. Lawson's been working up at McLean Hunter in Sarnia for 3 years, and he'll join us in about 2 weeks' time, and I'm looking forward to having him aboard. You've already met Paul. Paul's been on staff for a month. Unfortunately, I'm losing him, but he's been great. He's a graphic artist. He designed the T-shirts, the buttons, and he's been working very hard for me. Peter Stahl. Peter's my playback operator. Unfortunately, he's not on the videotape. Peter comes from the volunteer system that we have at Rogers Cable. He's a very dedicated community volunteer, and he's now employed in the cable industry, and we're glad to have him. Brian Trimble, he's my chief technician and right-hand man when it comes to fixing things. And there's lots of things that break. We break things every day, unfortunately. Jean Wong, she's my office coordinator. If you want to become a volunteer, get involved in community programming, talk to Jean. She can help you out. Have I hit everyone? That's everyone. Thank you very much, gang. We've now prepared a short videotape, and I'd like you to watch it.
Hello, I'm Matty. I'm one of the producers at the new Rogers East York Cable Television Studio. I'm looking forward to doing programming with senior citizens groups and individuals. We also have a mobile unit at our disposal for covering local sporting and cultural events. Drop by the studio for a tour and get involved in the production courses we offer to the volunteers.
The East York Symphony, the East Side Players, the East York Barbershoppers. These are only a few of the entertainment people you'll be seeing on Rogers Cable 10 very soon. My name is Judy, and if you are an aspiring musician, actor, or related creative type, why not give me a call? I'll show you how you can share your talents with the rest of the East York community here at Rogers East York.
Thank you very much. Bye. Hi, I'm Jean, East York's office coordinator. If you or your organization has an event or activity that you would like publicized, why not use our 73-foot long bulletin board? That's right. Give me a call and I'll arrange to put up your notice here at the East York studio. And if you're interested in TV production, let me know and I'll arrange for you to be in our next volunteer course.
Hi, I'm Lawson Hunter, a producer here at Rogers East York. I'm the newest addition to the production staff, and I'm just finding my way around. But don't let that stop you from calling me personally at 446-6796 if you're interested in community television programming.
Hi, I'm John, another community producer. We here in East York will be looking forward to working with you people on local issue programming, be it the Bayview Ghost or backed up sewers. In the process, you'll learn camera use, scripting, editing, and post-production. We know there are issues out there that concern you, the residents of East York. Get in touch with us, and let's work together for good community programming.
It's my turn? Yeah, welcome back again. Our first guest of the evening is the chairman of the board of the Canadian Cable Communication System. What? Canadian Cable Systems. I added an extra word, I'm sorry. His name is John Graham. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. John Graham.
Well, thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here this evening. Some of you may not realize just how much of a first this is. When cable television first started in the Greater Toronto Area, there were many different companies serving each of the municipalities. And there were some in the business, and notably Ted Rogers and the Rogers Organization, that had the feeling that we should have just one company for each municipality. And the CRTC that governs it finally approved that concept, and the announcement of approval was just made last Tuesday, just a week ago. And the transaction has been completed, and as of tonight, the Borough of East York is the only municipality in metropolitan Toronto that has one cable licensee dedicated to the service of its citizens, with a studio in the borough prepared to carry events of local interest. So that although in some respects East York may not always be first, in this it definitely is first. We're very excited about this prospect. Valerie and her associates have done a tremendous job, and I am sure that the community will appreciate the facilities that are available, the skills that are available, and I do hope that the warm invitations, sincerely meant, will be accepted, and that the citizens of East York will come here to O'Connor Drive and propagate their local activities and publicize them to the citizens of East York. I thank you very much. I wish you well. I'm sure it'll be a great success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next guest is, the gentleman's name is Phil Lynn, and he is the Senior Vice President of Programming of Canadian Cable Systems. Mr. Lynn.
Thank you very much. I just want to say how delighted I am to be here. I want to second Mr. Graham's remarks. Certainly it's true that, that we have in this medium a very important communications tool, and that local community programming has been used with real effect throughout this land. And we lead the world in community programming. We've been involved lately in the United States. One of the things that is our real strength, it's seen to be our strength internationally, is our ability to help people communicate with one another, and it's all done on the community channel. So I just want to say that to Valerie, I think you're doing a wonderful job here, and keep up the concept. It's in a very real way, though, you know, we're just on the ground floor for what cable television's all about. We have now, in many systems across Canada, 12 channels. In Toronto, we're fortunate enough to have 30 channels. Soon there'll be more channels, and many, many more. We hope that there'll be 50 channels shortly in Vancouver and in Toronto. We expect that there'll be a whole realm of different kind of programming, specialized programming, programming for seniors, programming for younger people, programming just in sports, programming just for hobbies. A number of specialized vertical programming is what the format is. Specialized programming, so that people will be able to see more of what they want. You know, there's a number of people who are disaffected by what's on television these days. Cable offers the alternative. Cable offers the opportunity to see what you want when you want to see it. And I can just feel it in this room. There's a lot of enthusiasm. It certainly pervades our organization, and I think the best is yet to come. Thank you very much.
Before we introduce our next guest, I have just a quick thing to say. The short time I've been here, before I came here, I knew about the very famous Ted Rogers. And then when I got to know about Mr. Bill Rogers, for the first few weeks I thought his last name was no relation. Sorry. With that note, I'd like to introduce the general managers of Rogers Cable Television, Mr. Bill Rogers.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be able to work with the people who've made the studio here in East York possible. But the programming and the activities that Rogers Cable TV are very pleased to bring to East York originate and extend far beyond the bounds of East York. Not only will this studio and the new cable network, which Ted Rogers talked about on the tape, make it possible for you to program exclusive programs that are of interest to you, the citizens of East York, but it will also make it possible for you to program activities and items of interest that would be of interest to people all over metropolitan Toronto. Our network is interconnected in such a way that this program can be this studio can be the origination point to make East York better known to all of the areas of Toronto. Indeed, tonight's program is being seen by the Rogers Cable TV subscribers in other areas of Toronto, and I'm sure that they join the citizens of East York in applauding this new studio, this new activity that you have here in your community. I would especially like to thank the mayor, who will be with us in a few moments, and the other members of the East York community municipal staff who have assisted us over the past 2 or 3 years. We have been originating programming from the municipal offices, and sometimes with some difficulty, and we certainly have appreciated the assistance that the mayor and his staff have given us. It's been a very good addition to our program offering, and I'm very thankful. Thank you very much. I hope everyone enjoys the evening, and most importantly, enjoys using this studio in the future. Thank you.
The next gentleman I had the pleasure of eating at Tony's restaurant across the street with. He is the Vice President of Programming. Please welcome Mr. Kip Moorcroft.
I'm going to be the only one who reads his speech tonight, simply because it's the only way I can keep down to 3 minutes. It really feels good to be here. That's an original opening. It's been about 2.5 years now since we first began to discuss the rationalization of community programming along municipal boundaries. These discussions led to further concept meetings with Phil and Ted. It began to become clear that the idea would only have a chance of really working if East York had its own programming staff and studio. The merger of the Rogers and the Metro cable systems fused East York into just one single cable company, as Mr. Graham spoke of earlier. Then, amidst the intense activity of the integration of the two companies, came the go-ahead to select a site and begin construction on this facility. It seemed to me a good idea to put a staff in place right away, and most importantly, a program director. Valerie Marlette was chosen to lead the East York contingent in the production of programming for the borough, even before the studio had been confirmed as far as location and her staff were selected. From that point on, the project went through good days and, only naturally, some interesting bad days. Valerie and the East York staff have learned what patience really is. A lot of people in the programming department, the company, and even the corporation have influenced the East York project at some time and in some way. They all know who they are, what they have done, and why they should be very proud tonight. I thank the managers, the executives, the technicians, the servicemen, the accountants, the producers, the engineers, and all of the idea people who played a big role here. I single out Valerie Marlette because more than all of these, this has been her creation. I hired a programmer, and I received an architectural consultant, a design engineer, a lease negotiator, an interior decorator, a social convener, and a plumber. Many other talents, too, I'm sure, which even Valerie was unaware that she possessed. Not to say that there wasn't times that Valerie wasn't prone to be jumping up and down, but these periods were off balance by the days when Valerie was steadying influence and I was jumping up and down. Valerie, thank you. So here it is. I like it. But all the more impressive will be what will be happening here in the weeks, the months, and the years to come. The community, the East York community, using this new pathway to explore itself, to communicate, and to develop its self-expression. The other two studios and areas in the Rogers Programming Department welcome East York into their fold with a little gift to the studio itself. Valerie, please accept Valerie, please accept this on behalf of your new East York studio. Long may it be used to record those magic moments which will occur in East York Community's television experience.
Is it my telecine chain?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our final guest of the evening before we...
1 minute.
1 minute?
Small
Oh,
request.
yes.
They want me to open it.
Oh, wow. It's a souvenir from Hawaii, one of those that snow.
It says it's a camera case.
Hurry up, come on.
Oh, thank you. I am now the proud owner of a 35mm camera for our studio. Thank you very
Try
much.
it on. There's no strap.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No brand names? Okay. Okay, our last guest of the evening is a gentleman I'm sure all of you in the East York borough know, especially if you watch our East York broadcast from there, is the mayor of East York. Please welcome Mr. Mayor Alan Redway.
Well, thank you very much, Paul, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most important, all of you East Yorkers out there. You know, Mr. Graham, I think it was Mr. Graham, said that sometimes East York isn't always first. Well, I've never known a time when that's true. So this is just another one of our firsts that's going on this evening. But we have had one or two problems over the years, and I don't think I'm telling East Yorkers anything when I say that one of those problems has been communications. When we think back to a few years ago, it's not hard to remember the fact that East York was a community which was ignored by the large daily papers. It's a community that has been ignored by most of the commercial television networks. But recently we've made some great strides. And a major contribution in all of these strides has been Rogers Cable Television Network. Now, we East Yorkers like to think of ourselves as small-town people, and we like to think that we live in a small town. But in spite of that fact, in spite of the fact that we have this small-town feeling, we have a population that's as big as the province of Prince Edward Island. And we're one of the largest cities in this country. And it's rather strange that a city of our size, with the number of people that we have, doesn't have a daily newspaper. We don't have a major radio station. We don't have a major television station. Now, most cities of our size certainly have this sort of thing. So it was rather pleasant about 3 years ago when we started to work with Rogers Cable and found that they wanted to develop this idea of a community programming, community network, which would gear in on East York and our own municipality and make it easier for East Yorkers to get to know one another and communicate with one another. And that's the sort of thing that's been going on now for the last 3 years. It's perhaps a very short time when you think of it that we have had cable television in East York. And we have had programming that's been geared just to our community. I think that our own program of East York Action Line started just over 3 years ago. And since that time, there's been a great expansion in cable broadcasting, and not without some difficulties, of course. Since then, we have shows recently that the aldermen have been putting on. We've been getting from the council chamber, albeit an hour and a half, and we get cut off right on the dot of 9 o'clock, much to the chagrin of many of our citizens who thinks that's when the real business goes on. But that's the sort of thing that has been going on together with a lot of other programming. And as you have heard and will be seeing in the not-too-distant future, there's a great raft of further East York community programming that you'll be looking forward to seeing. So tonight, I want to thank the Rogers Cable Company for all of their great efforts over the last 3 years. As I said, it hasn't been without problems. Originally, we had 3 cable companies in East York, and although we love competition, that did create a few difficulties for us as well. And sometimes there were those days when, as Ted Rogers said, they happened to cut off the programs at inappropriate times, or perhaps a part of our community didn't get the programs, or perhaps North York got it and East York didn't. But I'm sure that that's all behind us now. We have a new studio, and we're underway for a great future. So once again, I'd like to congratulate the Rogers Company, and also to thank you very much for coming to East York, and I'm looking forward to cutting the ribbon and making the official opening. Good.
A big hand for our distinguished guests. Mayor Alan Redway, I will have everyone grab a hold of this piece of red videotape.
We're all set?
Are we all set?
Let her go. Officially open. Right.
Now, before we finish things off, we got a big one, eh? Okay. Got a big one. Before we finish things off, we got a final thing to present to our distinguished guests. I'll be right back. Sorry? No dead air. That's bad. Let's see now. We have a East York Bulldog. Mr. Gray. Oops, hold on. There's this one. Are we missing one?
Short one.
We are short one. Oh, no. We will. It's around somewhere.
That's one sleeve each.
You can share. So, yes, wrap it up. Thank you very much for everyone coming down. Yourself, gentlemen, Valerie, and all you people with the green and red. Hello, I'm something or other tags. I'm sure that you won't remember each other's names by the end of the evening, but I'm sure you'll remember that you had a good time. And please come down and visit us again and do a program here. Thank you very much, and good night.
This has been Rogers East York's finest half hour.